Hi, my name is Haley Barnes. This is my discussion post for COMM 2060, Chapter 1, Probe 1. I want to apologize in advance if I keep looking up. I have my outline behind me that I'm referring to throughout this. So, prior to the pandemic, my daily life was what I would call very consistent and regulated. I was attending classes as well as working part-time, so it was really important for me to maintain a very organized and coordinated schedule. In regards to my courses, I was on campus 5 days a week. I would usually wake up early and put some effort into my presentation and what I was wearing. While I was on campus, I subconsciously fluctuated between several roles, like I think all of us do. As a student in the classroom, I made an effort to be attentive and conscientious, especially when I was speaking directly to my professor or a faculty member. But outside of these lectures, I used more colloquial and relaxed speech with my peers. I also attended school with my younger brother at the time. He was a freshman and I was a junior. So when I encountered him at school, I inadvertently took on the role of a protective and at times little stern older sister, simply looking out for his best interest and making sure that he was staying out of trouble. I was also working as a bartender, which encompasses many roles within itself. So I was obviously an employee and indirectly a representative of the company and the brand. So that definitely influenced my speech and behavior while interacting with management and first-time guests. But I definitely was able to play the role of a therapist or a confidant to some of my guests. And I had opportunities to have interesting discussions and to share personal anecdotes, discuss various ideologies, and even controversial issues with a few of my regulars that I was comfortable with. So I had to tweak my role with each guest that I interacted with in order to suit the audience and adjust my script. And is part of the reason why I really enjoyed my job. So during the pandemic, I was not able to return to campus, and I was furloughed from working for about 6 weeks. And during that time, my previously structured and consistent lifestyle fell apart rather quickly. Instead of waking up early and putting myself together in a presentable way, I would often spend the day in the same clothes that I'd slept in the night before. I think a lot of us are guilty of that. My sole in-person interactions were with my roommates, so I no longer needed to play these stringent roles that are inherent in being a student or an employee. My interactions were mainly just very laid back, colloquial, unenthusiastic. So this was a particularly eye-opening experience for various reasons. But during the quarantine, I was able to realize how closely we often unconsciously tie our external roles and the way that others perceive us within these roles to our individual identities and the way that we see ourselves. So before the pandemic, I would have described myself as someone who was very type A, highly motivated, and consistent. I also considered myself to be very social, and I prioritized the interpersonal ties that I had made both in and outside of my job. But obviously, due to the pandemic, both of those things, those aspects of my life were compromised. So within weeks of the quarantine, I realized how attached I had become to these roles as a way of defining myself. And it's kind of a disturbing experience. I think a lot of people went through this. It's a pretty startling experience to have all of that stripped away and to face what you're left with. But after the initial shock, I had the opportunity to reassess these roles as simply aspects of my individual identity, not the entirety of it. And I found that many people in my life were forced to go through a similar experience of, reevaluation. So although the circumstances were not ideal, I think we can all agree, I believe there's a lot of value in truly understanding and in some cases reassessing or reprioritizing the roles that we play in our daily lives rather than just going through the motions unconsciously. And again, although the circumstances were not ideal, I think that this pandemic offered everyone an opportunity to really examine and potentially redefine these roles that they play within their daily lives. And I think that's very valuable. Thank you.